The Trump family's largest crypto venture, World Liberty Financial, just applied for a bank charter. And there's a reason why this is a historic development. Because we've witnessed with our very own eyes what is undoubtedly an incredible journey from the Trump family being debanked under Gary Gensler's combative SEC to them sticking it to the man by aiming to become their very own bank. However, characteristically of just about anything the Trumps touch, both World Liberty and its stablecoin USD1 have been marred in controversy since the very start. Democrats have long called it a fraud, blatant corruption, while former White House staff called it a money scam and nonsense that should be avoided at all costs. We'll hear both of those clips in just a second. But of course, the Trumps see it differently. They argue that the president loves crypto, and he simply wants to make the US the crypto capital of the world. They also argue that the president is not involved in World Liberty or the USD1 stablecoin, which detractors have a hard time believing, given in part by how prominently the website features President Trump and his $57 million of declared personal income from World Liberty in 2024 alone. So, we decided to do a deep dive on World Liberty, the USD1 stablecoin, the $2 billion deal which preceded the Binance founder CZ's controversial pardon by Trump, and of course the recent efforts to turn the organization into a bank. So is it crime? Is it really corruption? Or is it just business as usual at the forefront of financial innovation? Now, if you care about where the industry is headed, then this one is for you. So do me a favor and like the video so more people can see it, and subscribe to SolanaFloor to support our journalism. It is just one click and it really helps us out. Now, we didn't randomly arrive at the Trumps trying to launch a bank. There's a clear timeline here, and we'd be remiss not to revisit the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville, where it all started with Trump addressing an absolutely rabid crowd of Bitcoiners and crypto maxis.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. I didn't know he was that unpopular. Well, I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa.
Fast forward to 2026, and we stand at a critical crossroads for crypto legislation, and the future of regulatory clarity stands in the balance to some extent with the ongoing Clarity Act debates in the US Senate.
Now comes the next step, a good bipartisan effort by both houses of Congress to bring certainty again to the market structure regarding cryptocurrencies. And this fits in with the president's focus on making America the crypto capital of the world. So if you have clear legislation and clear rules, then you have certainty in the marketplace. And so I think we're behind it. We are very bullish on the effects of the bill getting to the president to be signed this year. And I think that'll really be a huge help to the crypto marketplace and for investors in that.
Now, arguably, there's a low probability that we would have even come this far as an industry without a Trump presidency, given in part by how combative Gary Gensler's SEC was towards the industry and the likelihood of a Harris presidency continuing some or all of those combative anti-crypto policies. The real question today is just how much Trump and co. have profited from World Liberty Financial, despite claims that he is financially separated from the firm, and whether or not this poses any conflict of interest that really threaten the industry's progress. Because if the Dems win the midterms and they find Trump's involvement with World Liberty Financial constitute illegal activities or crypto corruption, as they refer to as pardon of Binance founder CZ, then all the progress we've made could be at risk.
This is blatant corruption. You don't need to know a lot about cryptocurrency to understand what went on here. You've got a foreign billionaire who was basically engaged in money laundering, having money go to Hamas, having money go to Iran, having money go to child abusers. He was convicted. And Donald Trump gives him a pardon while he's basically financing Donald Trump's cryptocurrency stablecoin. It is so illegal. It is right in our faces.
But this is nothing new, because going all the way back to the election itself, even former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci had serious reservations, to say the least, and he called World Liberty a scam to be avoided at all costs.
There's greatness in our industry, and then there's nonsense like this. And yes, I understand that he's pro-crypto and he spoke at the Bitcoin conference, but to do this,
Bitcoiners love him, and he's putting out a
Well, they love him because they don't know him. They don't know how transactional he is, and they don't know how dangerous he is. Yeah, because if he wins the presidency like Truth Social, these things will go up. It's also it's a money scam. He can get some of his donors to funnel money into that. It ends up in his pocket, and then he can fund things that he needs to do for himself. I mean, it's a transparent scam, and you should avoid it at all costs.
And look at this. So far in Trump's second term, nearly all of the increase of the Trump Organization's earnings came from the sales of crypto assets. Over $800 million in the first half of 2025 alone. So the Dems already have the motivation. Now they only need the ability to go after Trump and his crypto businesses once again. Democratic officials' outrage doesn't change how we got here, because it wasn't just Trump pledging to fire the worst SEC chairman of all time. In fact, against the backdrop of the presidential election, both Don Jr. and Eric Trump also stole the crypto industry's hearts by going on the media circuit, essentially using all of our favorite talking points to lambast the global banking system.
The banking system that we have around the world, the modern banking system, is antiquated. It's antiquated, and it's just a matter of time before really crypto not only catches up, but just really leaps ahead. And so we're incredibly excited on a lot of fronts, and I think America will be the crypto capital of the world, and I fully support it. My father fully supports it. Our family, is fully embracing it. We believe in DeFi. We believe in CeFi. We believe that's the way of the future. And again, America, better lead the way. Otherwise, we're going to leave a lot behind.
But even back then, as the Trump family members said all the right words at all the right times, conflicts of interest were being investigated around World Liberty Financial and the Trump administration, leading them to go on the offensive.
Walk me through how you're going to address some potential conflicts of interest here with the family's crypto ventures. I'm talking about World Liberty Financial in particular.
Well, it's always very funny. I mean, obviously we launched this, a year before my father even, thought he was going to win, obviously, this race. So these are legacy projects, right? I mean, I'm not like Hunter Biden, right? I'm not selling finger art around the world. Right? We're legitimate business. We've been in business for the last 100 years, and that's the natural question we always get asked. Well, isn't there a conflict of interest now? I mean, we're a great company. We're one of the greatest companies anywhere on earth, right? We've always been in the business space.
Now, these conflicts of interest deserve an entire video of their own. That's for another day. Today, we're focused on how exactly World Liberty Financial and the USD1 token, and of course the banking charter application, can impact our industry as a whole. So what on earth is really going on at World Liberty Financial? Well, if you go on their official X page, as any on-chain sleuth should do, you're greeted by World Liberty Fi's lofty and rather patriotic tagline. World Liberty Financial is building the future of finance, they say. USD1 is just the beginning, trusted by users, institutions, and everyone in between, followed by an eagle emoji and a #1 hand emoji. But is World Liberty Finance an open source, pro-decentralization, pro-disintermediation, and pro-self-custody organization? Well, that part remains largely to be seen. So let's start with a very quick refresher on who actually runs World Liberty before digging into various products that they now offer, and then we can get to the bottom of this banking charter application.
Now, in terms of the org chart, Trump's three sons, Eric, Donald Jr., and Barron, are all on the founding team, along with his longtime friend and real estate executive, Steve Witkoff, as well as his sons.
And speaking of Zach Witkoff, the World Liberty Financial co-founder and CEO, also the son of Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, who we just saw, is explaining here alongside Zach Folkman what exactly the WLFI governance token and USD1 stablecoin are to a rather confused audience of mainstream media anchors.
Unpack it all.
We're going to unpack it. Okay, so you have this one coin that you're saying is separate from this whole deal.
Yes,
correct?
World Liberty Financial.
World Liberty Financial
is the token that's part of this deal.
Correct.
Okay. It is the governance token that sits at the center of the World Liberty Financial ecosystem.
Okay.
USD1 is our stablecoin that Zach was just explaining.
Right. That is separate and apart from this whole situation.
Well, it's all part of the same thing. World
Okay.
Liberty Financial, the token sits at the center of it. USD1 is one of the products that we have rolled out.
Okay.
It's the fastest growing stable coin of all time. And we're really excited to bring out some more things that are going to, really shock people.
Now, this next part is of particular interest to the Solana ecosystem because, as all SolanaFloor subscribers will know by now, we've been covering this so-called stablecoin value leak story involving profits generated by Circle essentially being taken out of the Solana ecosystem and in part being given to Coinbase, who are naturally competitors. Solana stablecoins just reached a $15 billion all-time high, but there's a catch. The yield that those dollars generate doesn't stay in the Solana ecosystem. Critics say it's quietly being extracted by centralized issuers, but it gets even worse, because as it turns out, rival ecosystems are being funded with it. Now, going back to World Liberty, here's how the USD1 stablecoin ties into this ongoing debate about yields and how they plan to compete with incumbents like Tether and Circle.
We just announced the first ever point program for a stablecoin ever. So what that means is users of USD1 are going to be able to earn loyalty points similar to airline miles or credit card points for holding, transacting, and using USD1. This has never been done before, and it's going to create massive, massive effects for the growth.
Which raises the next question.
You'll notice here that Zach then goes on to explain the key economic differences between World Liberty Finance's USD1 stablecoin and existing competitors like Circle. Listen to this.
Unlike our competitor, we have no long-term rev share deal with any of our distribution partner. So while we're only 1/30th the market cap of Circle, we are already far more profitable than they are. Now, that's because Circle and Coinbase made a deal a long time ago that Coinbase gets 60% of the revenue that comes from Circle, regardless of what happens in perpetuity. USD1 is completely chain and distribution partner agnostic. So all of the listings, all of the Binance listings and all the other exchange listings that we have was earned business, whereas Circle pays for play. Because Circle is owned by Coinbase, other exchanges don't want to work with them. They're being paid to work with them. But they view working with Circle as doing a deal with the devil because they're directly supporting their competitor.
What do you really think?
I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. It's a USD1 future.
This brings us to the most important development from World Liberty Financial, that recent application for a banking charter. Now, interestingly, the application isn't entirely out of the blue because we just heard from various World Liberty co-founders how annoyed they were at the banking system. And the charter application actually comes after just last month, the Trump administration approved bank charter applications from BitGo, Fidelity, Circle, Ripple, and Paxos. So there is precedent for this. But here's what stands to change. Trust banks differ from full banks in that they generally can't take deposits or make loans. Banking lobby groups, on the other hand, have argued that granting these new trust charters would heighten systemic risk and undermine the credibility of the charter itself. The banks are not happy. And here's why World Liberty needs that banking charter. Primarily, it comes down to independence. With a banking charter, they can launch products faster by removing third-party dependencies, which are listed as soon as you go on their website. And World Liberty aren't showing any signs of slowing down whatsoever, because just this week, the official World Liberty account launched their own DeFi lending platform, letting users lend and borrow assets like USD1, ETH, and CBBTC. They then went on to announce an adjacent rewards program for users who deposit the USD1 stablecoin. Now, these rewards are set to scale with weekly deposits of USD1. DeFi Dad explains the post by showing us that markets for World Liberty just opened for lenders and borrowers on Ethereum mainnet. USD1 lenders can earn around 30%, he says. DeFi Dad then goes on to show that investors can now lend, collateralize, and borrow a range of tokens, including USD1, USDC, USDT, WLFI, and CBBTC. But he also reminds investors that these are newly launched markets, meaning there is always a risk of smart contract exploit. Visiting the World Liberty Financial website confirms that USD1 suppliers currently receive around 14%, while the borrow rates for USDC and USDT are between 5.5% to 6%. So in a sense, World Liberty is indeed innovating within the stablecoin space and legitimately differentiating from incumbents, Circle, and Tether. In the meantime, plenty of less legitimate but nevertheless real and interesting developments continue to happen on chain. And we're of course talking about Trump-adjacent developments like the Melania meme coin, which surged 22% just yesterday, making it the second largest 24-hour gain across the top 200 cryptocurrencies in the world. So where does that leave us with WLFI, USD1, and the banking charter? Well, in terms of stablecoin innovation, we like progress, and we hope that any new stablecoin can pressure the incumbents to be more open and more decentralized. Then there's the upcoming midterms and the final decision on the Clarity Act, which, as we know, are critical for the crypto industry, because senior Democrats led by Elizabeth Warren and others could look to undermine Trump and go after World Liberty's $1 billion in pre-tax profits and $57 million in Trump's personal income from the venture in 2024 alone.
You got to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, I mean, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached. We don't impeach them. You know why? Because they're meaner than we are. We should have impeached Joe Biden for 100 different things. They are mean and smart.
And that is where lies the uncomfortable reality. Nothing World Liberty Financial is doing appears to be illegal, despite Dems calling much of it corrupt. But almost none of it would be possible without political power, leading Reuters to call it a global crypto cash machine. So whichever way you splice it, World Liberty Financial represents an experiment into the convergence of blockchain, politics, finance, and technology, which is why we are launching our new segment titled The Big Picture. Starting January 29th, we'll be hosting expert guests who unpack the intersection of macro, politics, and crypto every Thursday. So if you do enjoy our deep dives, then make sure you subscribe to SolanaFloor with notifications turned on, and I'll see you next time for more of the very latest.